I'll just give you the concept of inventory. Inventory is something like you have different types of items in a production system. There are movable items, immovable items, items required for maintenance. Then there are items required for uh, making the raw material into semi-finished goods. Suppose you take an example of your household. For running a kitchen, you have so many items in the kitchen. So to cook that food, all those items, raw materials, become part of the inventory. So that is a name inventory, uh, carries a meaning. Huh. All these items, when I say inventory, all these items in inventory, they are supposed to be utilized in the future. They are not for immediate use. I stock them, whether it's a household items, whether it is an item in the colleges, whether it's an item in the industry or in a production unit. So they are meant for the future usage or a future demand. So you can say it's a stock of goods, commodities, or other resources that are stored at any given period for future production in an industry. That's what this definition means. Then what are the types of inventory? Whenever you look at an industry, there are three types of inventory. First, there's an item which is coming for as an input. Then the production is going on. So we have an in-process inventory. Then you have a finished goods. So all these things form part of the inventory. When I talk about the inputs, firstly, when I talk about input, it is a raw material. Any raw material which is required for the final product. Then items which are purchased, like I told you, items purchased for the maintenance, repair, and other facilities like oil, greases, tools, and other items for maintenance and repair. Then for in process, when the production is going on, so we get some partially completed products or sub assemblies. These are the in process items. Again, this becomes a part of the inventory. Then finally, the entire finished goods. When the items are finished, they are again kept in the stores. Again, that becomes a part of the inventory. So you can say there are three types of inventory. That is incoming, inputs, in process, and the finished goods. And when you want to classify this, so you call them a direct inventory or a indirect inventory. So when you say direct inventory, when you say it's a direct inventory, means inventory which is going to be utilized for making the final product is a direct inventory. And indirect inventory are those items which are not utilized for making the final goods or the final products, but mainly they are become part of the uh, process. Process in sense, like I said, for the maintenance purpose, for repair purpose, for tools, other associated items which are utilized indirectly for making that product. Now, what are the direct inventories? Like you can see on the PPT, it's a raw material. Raw materials means the raw material. Like suppose for a industry which is making the clothes, the cotton becomes a raw material. Then in process, like I told you, semi-finished goods, purchase parts which you directly purchase, like for a uh, industry which is making clothes, the dyes, the colors, and other things. And then finally, your finished good. It's again become the part of direct inventory. And like I told you, indirect inventories, which are used for maintenance, repair, and operations, something like standard tools, hand tools, lubricating oils, etc. Then you have consumable items. Consumable items are those items which are utilized in an industry on day-to-day uses for something like this, cotton waste, bean powder, general purpose items, stationery items, electric supplies, etc. So if I say what is a inventory control, so the moment you understand inventory, then the inventory control is purely is the process where we try to reduce the investment in materials and parts. But I got an inventory, I want to ensure that I spend the least amount of money in materials and parts which are kept as a stock, because that carries a lot of investment. Investment not only in terms of the purchases, but for maintenance also you require a lot of money. So the entire process of keeping that under control is known as inventory control. Now, you guys must have heard about the process of just in time. The industries have started just in time. Like they don't hold any inventory, it's a zero inventory. So whenever they require the inventory for making a product, they immediately place orders. And there's a chain, supply chain, which supplies them all these items. So this is how the just-in-time process has come into picture. So what we are trying to tell you the basics, that to keep that stock always available with the least investment, and all those measures which are used to keep it at a level of satisfaction is the inventory control. Now you can see on the PPT that why we hold the inventory. Why we hold the inventory? There are basic reasons. First reason, meet variation in customer demand. If you want to customize some items and there's cyclic variation, seasonal variation, or unexpected demand, so you have to keep sufficient inventory for that. Then sometimes you have the vendors who are offering you good amount of quantity discounts, that you order a particular amount of items and those items can be purchased at a discount. So you want to exploit that option. So keeping that price related issues, you have to keep the inventory. Then process and supply surprises. The name suggests, in case there is some variation in the processes or there is variation in the supply, then you have to hold the inventory. Precautionary motive, like right now we have a problem. In case some industry is functioning and due to this corona lockout, you're not able to hold the items and you are expecting some delays in incoming goods. So you have to hold the inventory. And why we should not hold the inventory? Initially I talked why we should hold. Now why we should not hold? Because when you keep something, it carries some carrying cost. Carrying cost means the cost which requires to sustain that item. Suppose we have a rubber item.
Cost.
Suppose we have items. Rubber items. So you understand, rubber items has got a shelf life. Shelf life means they got a shelf life of 2 years. So you overstock them, they'll go bad. You can't be using them. You have the seals and other items. You can't keep them for a longer time. So the cost which is required to sustain it is a carrying cost. We'll discuss separately. Then they occupy a space also in the factory. All these items, they require a space, and space means money. The space is a constraint. So especially what you do, if you stock too much of items for in process, they're going to be used for the final product. So unnecessarily it will be holding a space. Then wastage of materials, increase in maintenance costs. All these are interrelated issues. So these are the reasons why we should not hold it. And what we should do? Now let's coming on to the how you decide about an inventory level. Like I told you, there are some advantages keeping the inventory, then there are disadvantages also of keeping inventory. So how to decide about an inventory level? What should be our inventory level? So there are some certain terms which are utilized in the inventory. First is the order quantity. Second is the lead time. Third is the safety stock. And fourth is the reorder point. So we'll discuss them subsequently. Now, what is the lead time? In case you speak in a layman language, we place an order. The time when I place an order, and after a gap, when I receive these items, that gap is known as the lead time. Suppose I place an order today, suppose it is a 6 March. I receive this item on 26 April. My lead time is 1 month. So that is the lead time.
सर के घर पे कोई आ गया।
So, like you can see on the PPT, there is always some interval between the time the item is placed.
कोई नहीं है पढ़ने वाला।
There is always a time between the need for the material is determined and the time the material is actually received. Like I told you, there is always a gap, and this period is known as a lead time. And there are two things in this. First is the requisition time. Requisition. Requisition time means when I place a requisition, when I place a request for that item, plus procurement time. Like I told you, in case I place an order today, so I'm requesting for item today, and that is the requisition time. And then I took 1 month. So the purchase department has taken 1 month time. That time is known as the procurement time. So you can see on a PPT, requisition time consists of time required to prepare purchase requisition. Purchase requisition means purchase request and placing the order to a selected vendor. Vendor means a person who is going to provide you these items. And then procurement time is the time to deliver purchase order to the seller. Time for the seller to get or prepare the inventory for dispatch and time for inventory to be dispatched from the supplier and to reach the customer. I mean that duration, in between duration, you place an order, vendor receives it, he takes stock of the item, he dispatches to you, you take it on charge, and then keep it in the store. So that becomes your procurement time. Now let's coming on to the next point. Safety stock. There was a term which is used as a safety stock. The way the name suggests, safety. You have kept some stock for the safety purpose. That means it is a minimum level of inventory that is held as a protection against shortages due to fluctuation in demand. If there's a fluctuation in demand, so what you do, you always keep some minimum level of inventory, and that is kept to guard against the shortages. So like all the other points which is written on the PPT, that's self-explanatory. I don't have to go through them. Basically, you have to understand that safety stock, you can call it a buffer stock also, you can call it a base stock also, you can call it a reserve stock also, is basically to guard against the shortages. The next point which comes under the PPT is the reorder level and reorder point. Why I'm trying to go through the PPT, because this PPT is shared by all the students of all sections. So just to have a uniformity so that when you go through them, you have a better understanding. This is one of the reason I'm going through the PPT from one slide to other slide. Now, what is a reorder level and a reorder point? Again, reorder point, this is the fixed point between the maximum stock level and minimum stock level, at which time the order for the next supply of materials from the vendor is to be done. Now, I decided this is my maximum stock. And then I said that my stock should not fall beyond a certain level. So I decided that level. So the moment I reach that level, I place a order again. So that level is decided, or that point is decided. So level means ki when my order comes to that level, I again place my order. So that is a reorder point. You have a maximum stock. Suppose आपने you have a stock for 100 items, and you have decided when my stock falls to 80 items instead of zero. When my sorry, you can say other way around. Out of 100, when my stock falls to 20, I'll place my order. So you already decided when it comes to 20, I place my order. So that level 20 is your reorder level, and it becomes your reorder point. Since the demand is cyclic, placing order is cyclic. The moment you reach at 20, you place your order. So what it happens, it will be more clear once we come to the subsequent slides, that reorder point is normally normal consumption during lead time. When you have lead time plus safety stock. So that is the mathematical connotation of this. So again on the PPT, you can see when you go through it, It can mean days also, it can mean months also. Like it says, reorder level or reorder point is the inventory level at which a company would place a new order or start a new manufacturing run. And all these connotations mathematically given are self-explanatory. So it depends from uh, production unit to other production unit or production house to other production house, how they consider this. Like you can see in the next PPT, the example is ABC Limited is a retailer of footwear. Suppose there is a retailer of footwear, shoes, and it sells 500 units of one of famous brand daily, and supplier takes a week to deliver the order. You are selling 500 units every day, and the items takes 1 week to come to you. So what does it mean? You have a lead time. Lead time is it takes 7 days to get the items, and you are selling 500 items every day. So you should have a stock of how much? 500 into 7. 7 is the lead time. So you should have a stock of 3,500 units in your warehouse. Now, second example, you sell 500 items per day footwear. You have a lead time of 7 days to get the items. So you're stocking for 3,500 units footwear. You want to keep a safety stock also. And you decided to keep it average usage of 5. For 5 days, you want to keep a safety stock. So that means 5 days means 500 to 5, 2,500. And you have a lead time of 7 days, 3,500 units. So 2,500 plus 3,500. Then your level is 6,000 units. So in this scenario, in case you keeping a safety stock, so your reorder level will become 6,000. So like I said, it depends on the production house to other production house or a wholesaler to other retailer or wholesaler, how they want to stock it, depending on their sale. Now, coming on to the subsequent slides, inventory level, maximum inventory level, the name suggests, sorry, minimum inventory level. Minimum inventory level, I'll read it out. The lowest stock level represents the lowest quantitative balance of materials in hand, which must be maintained in hand at all times so that the assembly line may not be stopped on account of non-availability of materials. You have a production unit. You have decided that your production should not stop at any time. It should be continuous. So you decided for a minimum level of inventory to be kept at your warehouse. So that becomes your minimum inventory level to avoid the stock out situation. So minimum stock is a, you can reorder level minus average range of consumption into lead time. In case you decipher this, it is self-explanatory. Then you have a maximum inventory level. Again, the name suggests it is a maximum stock level, is a maximum quantity inventory which can be kept in a store at any time. So how you calculate this? Maximum level is reorder level plus reorder quantity minus consumption into reorder period. It's again a self-explanatory thing. You don't have to mug it up. This is for a explanation purpose only. And then when you say average inventory, and like the name suggests, average inventory is minimum level plus maximum level divided by 2. Danger level, there's nothing like a danger inventory level, but this is the level below which the inventory should not fall. Like when you see on a slide, this is the inventory order cycle. Like you can see, x-axis we got a time, and the y-axis we have a order quantity. And as you can see, the order quantity Q, this is a level, this is the maximum level, and this is the reorder point R. So you're not going to 0 to place your demand. The moment you come to a reorder point R, you place your demand. And what is this point? This period is a lead time. Lead time, the way I told you, is the order placed and the day you receive your order, that becomes your lead time. So now you can see it's a cyclic. There's a particular order quantity queue. The moment it reaches the level, like I said, it reaches a level which is your reorder level or reorder point, you place your demand, you refill your inventory. So before it comes to zero, again it goes up. Again consumption, it comes to the same point, you place your order, again it goes to the normal level. So this is how you manage your inventory order cycle. Okay. Now coming to the cost, what are the various costs attached with your inventory? Now the way you can see, again these are self-explanatory. There are four types of costs. We are calling them four types of costs. First is the purchase cost. Second is the ordering cost. Third is the carrying cost, which may be direct or indirect, and then stock out cost. Let's see them one by one. I'll read out because they are very, very self-explanatory. Purchase cost. Simple. You bought some item and you paid some amount for that, the purchase price. And from where you're buying from a source, from a vendor, so you're paying some cost. So that is the purchase cost for a particular item. Then you have a okay. Then you have a ordering cost and setup cost. Ordering cost is whenever you replenish your inventory, ordering cost. And like I told you, like you have a purchase department in the college. If I send my requisition to the purchase department, he'll spend some money on processing. He'll make some watches. He'll make some phone calls. He'll chase at orders. Then there's a transportation cost which may involve. Then somebody might be inspecting those items, quality, quantity, delay in orders. So all these things are clubbed into the procurement cost or setup cost. Then carrying cost. Like I told you, carrying cost means when you keep an inventory in a warehouse or at some particular place, you have to invest some money to sustain it or to maintain it. So like direct cost is your storage cost, the cost required for storage of those items. You have to hire some warehouse, the cost of in case you're occupying some space, then again there is a direct cost involved. Service cost, in case there are rubber items, you want to purchase a chalk powder to preserve them. Suppose there are some metal item, you want to keep them grease, oils, service cost, risk cost, they may go bad also, maintenance costs. So all those costs become the direct cost. Then indirect costs, you kept some item in a inventory and there's a business risk. The production goes for a low level or the demand goes out. So these are business risk. Then there's always an incremental increase in the infrastructure cost. You invest some money into infrastructure, there's always remains an incremental cost. Then capital cost of that land and other things. And then funds, you spend some money on those funds. In case you have those funds available to you, what do? You can draw some interest out of it. But now you invested that into keeping those items. Then next was the stock out cost. The name suggests stock out means there's always a risk that you have the shortages. When you have a shortages and you go for a panic purchase or something, you have to incur extra cost to that. Like people are rushing to the grocery shops to purchase items to stock it. So people may exploit that also. In case there is no government regulation, people may increase the price and that becomes your stock out cost. In case you are adequately stocked, the people will not exploit you. So we'll try to look at it in a diagram. In case you can see on x-axis, we have an order quantity, Q, and then on y-axis, we have a cost. Then there are three things which you can see: ordering cost, holding cost, total cost. When I say ordering cost, like you say initially, the cost is high. because you have a quantity which is less. So the moment you keep on increasing your quantity, the cost for ordering to place orders keeps on reducing. I repeat again, initially when the ordered quantity is less, the cost incurred is much more. The moment I keep on increasing my order quantity, the cost for the purchase or ordering those items keeps on reducing. However, my quantity has increased, so I have to stock these items. So my holding cost means carrying cost or holding cost. You can call it a carrying cost, you can call it a holding cost. That keeps on increasing in a linear fashion. More the items, more the money I'm spending in stocking it. Then these combined together becomes the total cost. Now you can see that there's a point where the total cost is at a least level. Initially, it is at a very high level, then comes down, and it is at a lowest peak. Then again it goes up. So this point becomes your economic order quantity, Q. There's a mathematical expression for this. So this is your economic order quantity level. Now I think, let me go ahead with the inventory models. What are inventory models? I'll read through. Mathematical equation or formula that helps a firm in determining the economic order quantity and the frequency of ordering to keep goods or services flowing to the customer without interruption or delay. You have different mathematical models. In this case, what you want some formula which can help you out to know what is a economic order quantity, how much you should order, which is economical to the firm. That is a EOQ. We call it a economic order quantity. And how many times you should place orders in a year, how many times you should place order, that is the frequency of ordering, so that the goods or services, there's no stock out, there's no shortages, without any interruption or delay, all these things, items are available to the customers, whether it's a goods, final product, or services. So all those things are decided based on the inventory models. They are mathematical expressions. Then there are certain things like economic lot size of item depends on the following: possibility of placing the repeat orders, nature of demand, availability or discount, single or multiple product manufacture, different assumptions, whether we can place the repeat orders. So your EOQ or economic lot size depends on that. Whether we have a possibility. When you go to a vendor and he knows you're going to place a repeat orders, so definitely he'll have some discount offered for you. Then what is the nature of demand? What sort of item you are placing? Whether it's a seasonal, suppose you want to place items for clothing industry, so you have to depend on the cotton to come out in the market. Or suppose it is some automobile industry, so in that case there is no seasonal. It's a two-wheeler industry or a four-wheeler industry. Demand may go up and down during the festive season or something. So it depends on nature of demand. What sort of discount people are going to offer you? Whether your company is a single or a multiple product manufacturer. So that against all these things affects your inventory models. So depending on the above things, there are two types of inventory model. First is a static inventory models, and that is a dynamic inventory models. Static, the name says a static inventory model, and then dynamic inventory model. If you can see on the PPT, the two types: static inventory models, then dynamic inventory models. Again, dynamic inventory model is two types: deterministic models and probabilistic models. As far as your syllabus goes, the focus is on deterministic models. And there's no, what I say, deep mathematical interpretation involved. It is basically orientation towards these mathematical models. There's no in-depth knowledge required by you guys at a BTech level. Normally at a post-graduation level, there's a detailed mathematical expression given for this. It's basically introduction. So just to give you an idea, what is a static inventory models? Static inventory model means only one order placed to meet the demand. Simple. Like you have a Diwali coming up, somebody has placed order for crackers. You have rainy season coming up, so you place orders for umbrellas. There's a problem of summers, so you have placed orders for the coolers. So likewise, sweaters, raincoats, etc. There's only one order placed to meet the demand because you're not aware in next time what is going to happen. And in these cases, repeat orders are either impossible or they are too expensive. So the name says static, means you do it only once. Then like I told you, dynamic inventory models, again, are two types. First is a deterministic, second is a probabilistic. And just to give you an idea, what are these? So like I said, we are going to focus on the deterministic model. So try to understand. I'll try to go through point-wise. Deterministic means कि here you go with an assumption that your demand, कि what you're placing, the demand which you're placing, and the lead time, कि when you're going to receive it, is already known to you. There is a certainty for that. कि how many items and what is the lead time? This is known to you. These are the assumptions. So it is based on the following assumption. First is the demand and lead time of the item is known exactly for a given period. If for this particular duration, your demand is going to this much, and the lead time means the time required to get it is this much of a particular item. Then what you do, if this demand is uniform, there is no variation in the demand. For a period of time, a particular period of time, your demand is occurs uniformly. And when you place your orders, they are received instantaneously. You're not expecting any delays or anything. These orders are received instantaneously. These are assumptions. You don't have to mug them up, but you should be aware about it when you calculate all this. And then these items can be purchased freely. There are no restrictions. There are no government regulations or restriction on purchase of these items. Then price per unit. When you say price per unit means price for one item, they are fixed. And they're independent of the order size. Whether you place order for 100 items or you place order for 1,000 items, the price per unit is fixed. And then items have a fairly long shelf life. When I say shelf life, like I said, rubber items got a shelf life for 2 years. Okay, after 2 years, they get into a bad shape. Well, they can't be utilized. So all these items don't have a shelf life. That means there is no fear of deterioration or spoilage. कि खराब नहीं होंगे, they'll be intact. Then the cost of placing an order, I said ordering cost. The cost for placing an order is fixed, and it does not vary with the lot size. There is no variation. Whatever is the lot, whatever may be the lot size, the cost remains the fixed. Probabilistic means कि we are not going to discuss in detail about probabilistic. It means कि take into account the variation in the demand. कि आपकी demand भी vary कर रही है और lead time उस item का आपका vary कर रहा है इसको. Now there is a term economic order quantity. I told you कि why we are trying to understand all these terminologies, because we want to know what is the economic order quantity. Friend, are you with me? Can you hear me, Surendra?
Yes, sir.
Are you understanding something or you are just listening?
Sir.
कुछ समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है?
What, sir?
मैं कह रहा हूँ समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है कुछ?
Yes, sir.
तो ये क्लास मतलब ये इसका रिकॉर्डिंग अगर भेजते हैं तो you can understand the slides comfortably. आप समझ जाओगे ना slides पढ़ के?
आ रहा है, sir.
Okay, good. So this
is
the last portion, economic order quantity. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So when you go through the PPT, you'll understand. In different books, you'll find different formulas for economic order quantity.
Yes, sir.
I don't say different formulas because, like I told you, in a higher education, post graduation and a research level, they are complicated models for economic order quantity, but at a graduation level they are very simple formulas. So you don't have to get into too much of depth. बहुत ज्यादा डिटेल में नहीं जाना उसको, खाली उसको समझना है, ब्रॉडली समझना है कि क्या क्या टर्मिनोलॉजीज होती हैं. तो इसमें
Okay, sir.
बेसिक ईओक्यू मॉडल के बारे में बात करेंगे. देन ईओक्यू विद क्वांटिटी डिस्काउंट, कि आपको किसी पर्टिकुलर आइटम पे क्वांटिटी डिस्काउंट दिया ऑर्डर पे, तो उसका क्या मॉडल है और नॉर्मल क्या है बेसिक. अब ये आपको सिंपल सा एक फॉर्मूला इसमें दिखा रखा है सामने,
Under 2ds पैसे.
ठीक है ना. इकोनॉमिक ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी इज इक्वल टू अंडर रूट ऑफ 2
Under
ds डिवाइडेड बाय c,
ds.
एंड d इज व्हाट एनुअल
Yes,
डिमांड ऑफ
sir.
प्रोडक्ट. ठीक है. एंड ये है क्वांटिटी ऑफ प्रोडक्ट ऑर्डर,
Yes.
दैट इज द ईओक्यू. कॉस्ट ऑफ कैरिंग कॉस्ट
Cost.
for 1 year. Carrying cost, I told you, na, when you stock an item, that is the carrying cost.
Yes.
And S is the average cost of completing an order for a product. So this may vary. Rather, you guys realize that I have given you detailed notes also.
Yes, sir.
आपको वैसे भी पीडीएफ बना के दिया था या उसका एमएस में, तो उसमें भी डिटेल में इसके बारे में लिखा हुआ है. अगर उसको ध्यान से देखोगे तो बहुत ही सिंपल तरीके से समझ में आ जाएगा. अब ये सेम मॉडल है जो मैं आपको बता रहा था, ये जो दिखाई दे रहा है ना इसमें,
Yes, sir.
ईओक्यू मॉडल. अब इसके जो एक्स एक्सिस पे देखो टाइम लिखा हुआ है, टाइम इन डेज, और इसका जो क्या कहते हैं वाई एक्सिस
Inventory levels.
इन्वेंटरी लेवल्स है. ये आपका मैक्सिमम लेवल है, ऊपर है ना मैक्सिमम इन्वेंटरी लेवल, नीचे रीऑर्डर लेवल, और ये मिनिमम लेवल जहाँ पे रहेगा इन्वेंटरी का. एलटी इज योर लीड टाइम, ये आपने
Time पे
तक आपको मिलता है वो सामान. एंड एवरेज इन्वेंटरी मींस कि दोनों का एवरेज, मैक्सिमम का और मिनिमम का जब आप एवरेज लेते हो Q/2 हो जाता है. तो जैसे आपका उस लेवल पे आता है दोबारा ऑर्डर प्लेस कर सकते हो. तो दिस इज द बेसिक मॉडल. इतना आपको समझ में आना है, ठीक है. तो इतना तो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है आप लोगों का, इसको समझ जाओगे सेल्फ स्टडी से. सेम मॉडल 1 बेसिक इन्वेंटरी मॉडल, इसका नीचे वो कैलकुलेशन दे रखा है, ठीक है. जैसे मैंने बताया था,
Yes.
इसमें आपका जो डिमांड होगा डिटरमिनिस्टिक होगा एंड कांस्टेंट होगा, लीड टाइम 0 रहेगा, क्वांटिटी डिस्काउंट कोई नहीं रहेगा इसमें. जो आपकी ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट है, ऑर्डर प्लेस करने की कॉस्ट है, वो वेरी नहीं करेगी. ग्राफिकली जैसे ऊपर दिखा रखा था वैसे होगा. तो एक सिंपल सा आपको देखो ये डेरिवेशन है, छोटा सा, कुछ भी नहीं है इसमें. अगर ध्यान से देखो इसको, ये दिखाई दे रहा है आपको पीपीटी में.
Yes, sir.
अब इसमें देखो तो डी इज योर एनुअल डिमांड,
Minimum demand per
यूनिट
unit per year.
एन इज द नंबर ऑफ ऑर्डर प्लेस पर एनम, कि साल में कितने ऑर्डर
Yes.
प्लेस करने हैं. टीसी इज अ टोटल कॉस्ट पर एनम. सीओ इज अ ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट, जो उसको पर्टिकुलर आइटम को ऑर्डर करने की कॉस्ट है, वो
Order
सीओ
पे.
है. इन्वेंट्री कैरिंग कॉस्ट सीएच, ये अपने अपने हिसाब से लिखते हैं सभी बुक्स में, ठीक है. इसमें इसने सीएच लिखा है, कई जगह खाली एच लिख देते हैं.
Yes.
वो आपने जैसे आपको रखने की जो कॉस्ट आ रही है उसको, आपने एक आइटम की कितनी कॉस्ट है, प्राइस पर यूनिट, सीपी इसने बोला है.
CP.
क्यू इज अ ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी, एंड जो हम निकाल रहे हैं फॉर्मूला किसका निकाल रहे हैं, क्यू डॉट,
Which.
क्वांटिटी. ये नीचे आ रहा है ना सबसे, क्यू डॉट.
Yes, sir. Under 2D.
हाँ. तो आपने क्या किया, सिर्फ एनुअल ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट और किसको, कैरिंग कॉस्ट को ऐड किया आपने. एनुअल ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट क्या हो जाएगी भाई, ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट पर ऑर्डर, एक ऑर्डर के कितना कॉस्ट है वो ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट हो गया ना.
Yes, sir.
कि आपने एक ऑर्डर है, अगर उसकी ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट आपके 100 रुपए है, और आपने 10 ऑर्डर प्लेस किए तो कितनी होगी, 100 इंटू 10 हो गया, 1000 हो गया. नंबर ऑफ ऑर्डर, नंबर ऑफ
1000.
ऑर्डर कितने हैं कि साल में तुमको अगर 1000 चाहिए तो तुमने कितने, कितना क्वांटिटी मंगाना है. नंबर ऑफ ऑर्डर्स मीन एनुअल डिमांड कितनी है आपकी, और आपने कितने ऑर्डर प्लेस कर दिए, ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी साल में कितनी बारी है. तो इसको आपने रिप्रेजेंट किया सीओ प्लस सीओ इंटू डी बाई क्यू. डी इज योर एनुअल डिमांड, क्यू इज योर ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी, एंड सीओ इज योर ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट. तो ये सिंपल सा फॉर्मूला है इसका, ठीक है. तो ज्यादा डिटेल में जाने की जरूरत नहीं, बस खाली इतना ही समझना है इसको. और दूसरा है योर कैरिंग कॉस्ट. कैरिंग कॉस्ट क्या बताया था कि जब आप इसको स्टॉक करके रखते हो तो आपको कितना खर्चा होता है. इन्वेंट्री कैरिंग कॉस्ट कितना है और एवरेज इन्वेंट्री कितना है. एवरेज इन्वेंट्री क्या था, मैक्सिमम इन्वेंट्री माइनस
Minus minimum inventory by 2.
उसका एवरेज ले लिया था आपने. और अगर इसको ध्यान से देखो तो सी एच इंटू क्यू बाई 2 सीधे सीधे हो जाएगा, मैक्सिमम प्लस मिनिमम डिवाइडेड बाई 2 और मैक्सिमम माइनस मिनिमम डिवाइडेड बाई 2. इतना याद रखना, ये वाला जो है ना, सीओ इंटू डी बाई क्यू, सी एच इंटू क्यू बाई 2. अगर इसका आप इसका जो सिंबल्स है थोड़ा चेंज,
एवरेज।
तो फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला उसको। तो आपकी टोटल कॉस्ट क्या आ जाएगी, इन दोनों को आपने ज्वाइन कर दिया और इन दोनों कॉस्ट को मिला दोगे तो ये आपकी टोटल कॉस्ट आ जाएगी। इसके बाद क्या कर रहे हो आप, इसको डिफरेंशिएट कर रहे हो,
विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू क्यू।
ये ना टोटल कॉस्ट को आपने क्वांटिटी के
यस सर, ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी के रिस्पेक्ट में।
हाँ, तो आपका इकोनॉमिक ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी आ गया। और इसको क्रॉस चेक करने के लिए कि वाकई डिफरेंशिएशन ठीक है, सेकंड ऑर्डर में जाओगे तो नेगेटिव आएगा, ये सॉरी पॉजिटिव आएगा।
डबल डिफरेंशिएशन।
हाँ, डबल डिफरेंशिएशन में तो वो आपका कंफर्म है कि आपका जो फॉर्मूला ठीक है। तो आपको खाली फॉर्मूला याद करना है, अगर कोई न्यूमेरिकल पूछेगा, चॉइस में आता है नॉर्मली, इनफैक्ट ज्यादा न्यूमेरिकल आते नहीं है इसमें, तो आपको खाली फॉर्मूले में उसकी वैल्यू डालनी है और कैलकुलेट करना है, ठीक है, इतना खाली।
ओके सर।
बाकी ये मैं ज्यादा आपसे डिस्कस नहीं कर रहा, इनको खाली देख लेना, इसमें ज्यादा याद करने की जरूरत नहीं इनको, नॉर्मली कोई पूछता नहीं है, मैंने अभी तक देखा नहीं किसी को पूछते हुए। आई थिंक ये बीच वाला हम लोग थोड़ा स्किप कर सकते हैं, बाकी नॉर्मल थ्योरेटिकल इंटरेस्ट के लिमिटेशन क्या है इनकी मॉडल्स की, तो ठीक है, दैट इज नॉट अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इशू। ये कुछ है क्या ना, इन्वेंटरी कंट्रोल टेक्निक्स है। आई वांट टू फिनिश ऑफ दिस टॉपिक क्योंकि ये कोई ज्यादा बहुत ज्यादा सीरियस नहीं है, बड़े लेवल के नहीं है, ठीक है। देयर फॉर सर्टेन एनालिसिस, ओके। तो इसमें जो लिखा है ना, जैसे आपका लिखा है एबीसी एनालिसिस है, ऑलवेज बेटर कंट्रोल, इसका फुल फॉर्म जो है ना एबीसी, वो है ऑलवेज बेटर कंट्रोल।
यस सर, आप
देन एसडी है स्केयर, स्केयर्स, ये स्केयर नहीं है, स्केयर होता है डराने वाला, स्केयर्स होगा SCRCE, स्केयर्स मींस जिसकी कमी होती है। डिफिकल्ट एंड इजी टू ऑब्टेन एनालिसिस, ये कोई ज्यादा यूज में नहीं आता। VD एनालिसिस है वाइटल एसेंशियल डिजायरेबल एनालिसिस, ठीक है। देन हाई मीडियम लो एनालिसिस, देन FSN इज फास्ट मूविंग स्लो मूविंग नॉन मूविंग एनालिसिस, SOS सीजनल ऑफ सीजनल एनालिसिस। मैं आपको थोड़ा सा इसको इंट्रोडक्शन दे देते हैं, उसके बाद देन विल फिनिश इट ऑफ हियर ओनली। देखो तुम्हारे घर में सामान रहता है पूरा का पूरा, एक अगर
व्हाट
हाउस,
सर?
जैसे तुम्हारा हाउस होल्ड है, घर है तुम्हारा,
यस सर।
तुम्हारे पेरेंट्स घर में पूरा सामान रखे हुए हैं, तुम्हारा सबसे ज्यादा
यस
सामान
सर।
कहाँ रहता है, घर के किचन में रहता है।
यस सर।
उसके बाद तुम्हारा फर्नीचर है घर का, फिर तुम्हारे घर में छोटा सा लॉकर होगा, उसमें सोने का सामान या कुछ ऐसे ऑर्नामेंट्स रखे होंगे, सही है गलत है?
यस
तो
सर।
एबीसी आपका उसके बारे में बात करता है कि आपके 3 टाइप के आइटम्स है, A आइटम्स, B आइटम्स एंड C आइटम्स। तो आपका जो A आइटम्स है, ये हैं तो कम, खाली 10% है आपके पास, लेकिन इसकी जो कॉस्ट है, इसकी जो वैल्यू है, तो कॉस्ट की बजाय वैल्यू जो है उसकी 70 to 80% है।
दैट इज
ये
गोल्ड्स।
क्लास आइटम्स, जैसे घर में जो सोना है तो थोड़ा सा,
यस सर।
लेकिन आपके घर कैलकुलेट करो तो सबसे ज्यादा उसका है आइटम्स की, नॉट दैट कि घर की प्रॉपर्टी मींस लैंड की। तो
यस सर।
बी आइटम्स बीच वाले हैं कि हैं तो 30%,
फर्नीचर।
पर उसकी वैल्यू 15% है। और जो बाकी जो बचे हैं वो बहुत सारे किचन के आइटम्स है, लेकिन उनकी वैल्यू खाली 5 to 10%।
यस।
तो आप क्यों करते हो, क्योंकि इंडस्ट्री में एज ए सीनियर एग्जीक्यूटिव आपका ध्यान किस पे रहना चाहिए, ए टाइप के आइटम्स का, कि जो है तो कम लेकिन बहुत ज्यादा वैल्यू है उसकी, तो आप खाली ए आइटम्स को कंट्रोल करते हैं। ये बात समझ में आई नहीं है?
क्लास ए।
ठीक है, ऐसे ही आपका क्या है, ये होता है,
यस सर।
ये क्लासिफिकेशन का लिखा हुआ डिटेल इसके अंदर, ठीक है। सिंपल जो मैंने बताया था उतना ही ध्यान रखना है आपको, इससे ज्यादा याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है आपको। ऐसे वाइटल एसेंशियल डिजायरेबल, अब वाइटल का मतलब क्या होता है, अगर वाइटल देखा जाए तो ऐसी चीज जिससे कि बिल्कुल ही प्रोसेस रुक जाएगा आपका,
ऐसी चीज जिससे कि
जैसे आपका अगर मेन मशीन का बेयरिंग टूट गया तो आपका प्रोडक्शन ही रुक जाएगी, तो दैट बिकम्स योर वाइटल आइटम। उसके अलावा अगर सपोज आपके पास क्या कहते हैं कुछ ऐसा आइटम है कि जिससे थोड़ा बहुत फर्क पड़ेगा प्रोडक्शन में, उसको एसेंशियल बोलेंगे। डिजायरेबल वैसे हैं कि जिनको रहने ना रहने से कोई खास फर्क नहीं पड़ता, सील्स हैं, लुब्रिकेंट्स हैं, ऑयल्स हैं, जरूरी सारी हैं, पर आपका ध्यान एज ए सीनियर एग्जीक्यूटिव वाइटल आइटम्स पे रहना चाहिए, तो उसको VD एनालिसिस कहते हैं।